Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. This is part 2 of the high school episode. I'm your co-host Pancho,
I'm your co-host MayJay.
and we're here back with
Chuy.
And today's drink of the day for me would be a jarrito. I actually got a lime jarrito. This shit is so buzzing when it's super cold. How about you, MayJay?
My drink of the day is a hibiscus and maracuya tea.
My drink of the day is a twisted tea.
Twisted tea, I wish, bro. Oh my gosh. Alright, with this, we get started with our most recent story. Alright, so no, I get what you're saying about bitch ass teachers. I had two of them. My freshman year, I remember this English teacher I had on the second floor. She was like a corner teacher, you know, the ones that you go up the stairs and right in the corner there's the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was getting bullied at the time by this one dude. He was like super homophobic. He was calling people like the F slur and all that. Funny enough, now he's very much a homosexual, which is very ironic because you know you are what you eat and shit like that. But anyways, the teacher was witnessing all this stuff, and not only that, but other people being bullied, like other girls, other guys, and stuff, and she wouldn't do anything about it. Oh, but when it comes to your studies, then she would like call you out in front of the entire class and stuff. And there was a few moments where she would be like, "Oh, complete this essay, do it in this font, and blah blah blah," but she would not say what she would actually want you to write.
Yeah.
Like what about it would just be like, write this essay. You figure out what the topic is, which makes no sense. Because, like, how are we going to write an essay about something that we don't know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
And there would be multiple people going up to her, telling her, hey, what are we talking about? What are we writing? And she was like, oh, you guys figure it out. You guys choose it and stuff like that. But if we chose a topic she didn't like, she would deduct points and stuff like that. And there was one time where I turned in an assignment that had to do with a book that I was reading at the time. Called Zombie, ZOM-B. Actually, really good book. I didn't get to read the last two, but I really want to see if I can find them and reread them. And I was writing an essay about that, and she goes, I don't like horror, -5 points. I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? Just because you don't like a horror themed book, you're going to deduct points from my essay and stuff like that? And yeah, she was very annoying and stuff. But besides that, I get what you're talking about, like, with the teachers that didn't want to teach you. Because I failed my advanced algebra, like, the entire year because she would not teach the class. She would just be like, here's a packet, learn it. And when I would try to be like, hey, can I get, like, help after school and stuff, she would be like, oh, I have kids, I can't be doing that, and blah, 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 which is understandable. But if it's more than one person telling you that they don't understand something, you need to help them. Like, it's not, at this point, it's not like your choice and stuff like that. Like, you have to, because you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, I ended up failing my advanced algebra.
Or sometimes it's not that they do something wrong, it's just there is more than one way to get the answer to something. And sometimes if you teach it the other way, or like a more like a less complex way, sometimes you understand it better.
For sure. Everyone learns differently.
Exactly.
As long as you get the same thing, you're doing good. But yeah, I ended up failing it, and I went to summer school. What is it called when you're like trying to pass the class in summer school? I forget what it was called.
I don't know. I didn't do that.
But I had to pay like a $300 fee for that. Yeah, it was a lot, and my mom was mad at me at the time. And I was like, "How are you gonna get mad at me when she's not even like half of the people in
I
the?"
remember because we were like, "Yo, let's go hang out," and June was like, "I can't go to summer school."
Yeah, and, dude. Tell me why they were mad at me for like failing, and so I'm like, dude, half of the people there were in her class. Like half of the class didn't pass. Like, it wasn't just me. But yeah, I met some really cool people there. And that's how you know it was her, because it was supposed to last 2 months, and I only went for 2 weeks and I passed it. Because it was that easy. She just wasn't teaching it.
Yeah.
But remember all those fights, Chuy, that we were witnessing and stuff? There's a few fights that I witnessed, like, in a hallway or I would witness in the cafeteria. We had a 4th floor and a basement, and there was one time where one of my friends was like, "Hey, can you come with me over here?" I was like, "Why? What's up?" He goes, "Oh, there's gonna be a fight, but don't tell anyone." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And at the time, I didn't have a phone because like my mom never bought me one until I think I was a late sophomore, maybe like beginning of the junior year. And we went to the basement. It was dark as hell. And then you open a door that was like the janitor's closet essentially, and there was like a crowd of boys like all surrounding like 1 or 2 people, and they were just swinging to each other. Oh, you know what it reminds me of? You ever watch what's it, Hachi or Bachi, the robot, the boxing robot, that movie? It was like that, you know, where it's like the entire arena. It was literally like that, like a mosh pit and stuff. And I saw a kid get knocked out and a kid lose a tooth from a punch and stuff. And then in the 4th floor cafeteria, there was these 2 kids that were fighting, and one of them like felt like he got so dizzy because he got punched really bad, and they were trying to hold him up and take him downstairs. He almost fell down the fucking stairs. Like that's how dizzy and knocked out he was. Oh, and don't even get me started on the fucking school shootings, dude. We had like 4 of them. I think only one of them was real, but they ended up arresting the guy before he even got inside the school.
Yeah, I remember a couple of them from my school. I don't think during my time. I think we had one, but it was just like someone around, like, you know, around the school had it was rumored someone had a gun around. Mm-hmm. And then, so ever since then, they started bringing dumbass metal detectors, and we had to get scanned like we were going to like
the TSA.
Yeah, TSA. And I was like, "Come on, gang!" And then I'm seeing over here friends like, "Yo, dude, you got an extra pocket? You can put this in." And then at the time, it was like, you know, like vape pens and all this shit.
Yeah. Right? Oh yeah, vape pens were barely starting to get popular and stuff during that.
And then so I was like, "Dang, dude." I was like, "No, bro." And he's like, "Shit." I'm like, "What are you gonna do with it?" And he was like, "Put it in the bottom of the book bag." I'm like, I was like, "They're not gonna see all the way in the bottom." I was just like, and then he was like, "Nah, dude." And at the time, he had a lunchbox, and he put it in his sandwich. And I was like, "Dude, you're so dumb." And then I was in my English class, and he texted me. He's like, "Dude, I can't find my pen."
Did he eat it?
I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "I don't know where I put it." I'm like, "In your sandwich, goofy." He's like, "Oh, my bad." But no, school shooting wise, like, you know, threats and all that, I had like maybe like 2. It wasn't bad, but I remember when I was in high school, they was like, "Yeah, Central closed down a lot."
We had a couple school threats too, shooting wise, and I remember one was like, they posted it on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, somebody made a fake account, fake email, and everything, and they said, 5th period's gonna get shot up at the cafeteria. Yeah. And our cafeteria, I know your cafeteria was on the 4th floor.
No. Our cafeteria was the 1st floor. Literally, as soon as you enter, you would cross a hall, and then it was to your left. It was a giant, like, basically, like, auditorium-sized cafeteria, all made of glass.
No, that's how it is now, no?
That's how it has been for, like, the last 6 years, I think.
Wait, no, but when you were in high school.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's how it was?
Yeah, it was like
that's how it was.
Yeah. When I started, like the way it is right now.
Yeah, when I started, they already had 2 years with it.
Nah, it was like
the 4th floor cafeteria is.
But the old cafeteria was
in the 4th floor.
Yeah, okay. Like when I was in high school, their cafeteria was on the 4th floor, so they had no shooting threats. Mm-hmm. But our cafeteria was basically how their cafeteria is now, where it's all windows and it's on the 1st floor, so like you can easily like do a drive-by and just, you know. Yeah. So, and then it's the foyer, which is also windows. But, I mean, I guess if you were in the foyer, you have a little bit more, like, you know, without getting shot, because there's 2, you know,
windows.
2 window doors, or whatever you want to call it. And then I guess in the cafeteria also.
Yeah.
There's 2 like that.
But the thing is...
But people used to sit in that pasillito. Yeah. So, like, if you were there, you got shot. So I remember that, like, for that whole week, I was in band, so I would go eat in the band room with my friends, or in like the in the band like uniform room.
Mm-hmm.
I would go sit there. Yeah. And we would sit there and we'd have lunch there. We would just all take our own lunch from school. I mean from home. And we would just comer todo and repartirnos because no one wanted to go into a cafeteria and get shot.
Yeah. Nah, but we had to threaten, like, you know, it got threatened with, like, bombs.
Oh, yeah.
With bombs, I remember.
Remember somebody Sharpied in the bathroom saying that they were going to shoot someday.
Yeah, same thing with mine. I took a picture of it and I posted it on Snapchat. And I'm like, yo, watch out. Because it was, like, right across from my U.S. history class. And I'm like, hey, yo, watch out. This shit looks fresh because it was still dripping. And, like, a bunch of people reposted and stuff. And, it was the day that, remember you came to pick me up at Subway?
Oh, yeah.
It was that day. Because the next day, a few days later, I usually go to the cafeteria to get breakfast. So I went there. And I sat down after grabbing my food. And every single person started rushing in and stuff and screaming. And they locked the doors. And they were like, everybody go to the back of the cafeteria where they make the food and stuff. So we went over there. And it was like, imagine if you're like at a concert on mosh pit, like everyone was squished together in one room. Like everyone was like backpack scraping your arms and stuff like that. You were getting bruised up because people were trying to kick you to move and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then after they're like, oh yeah, quote unquote, it was a false alarm and stuff like that. They're in the PA system. They were like, oh, go back to your classes. Everything's all fine stuff. And I was like, oh hell no, I'm not doing that. So I texted MayJay and I was like, hey, can you come pick me up? He's like, yeah, I go to the Subway that's right across and I'll go pick you up. I was there for like 10, 15 minutes and then I just ended up staying at their house for the rest of the day. And turns out, later on Snapchat, people were posting that there was these kids being arrested because they had an AR in their car. But they didn't even threaten to shoot the school or anything. They just had it in their car.
Yeah, because there was some school, like in my school, there was a kid that ended up getting arrested due to him having a firearm in his vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, and then that shit happened. School fights for me, I witnessed like
a good dozen or two.
Nah, a little bit more.
That's what I'm saying, a good dozen or two.
I remember the best fight I have ever seen this dude use the locker to like
a lock pad?
To close, yeah.
Like put his head in the locker and started slapping on the door.
And he just started banging on his head.
I saw someone get
I saw somebody get padded with the lock pad.
Yeah.
Like they would put the pad in their middle finger, and then just they would lock it, put it in their middle finger, and then they would swing it. So the lock pad hit you like.
Yeah. I seen that. I've seen people use other people.
Like grab people, just throw it.
I seen that.
Goofy ass.
I seen someone actually like they were fighting in the hallway and then they ended up moving into a classroom.
Fighting in the classroom?
Yeah, like they were in a hallway and then they just pushed each other into a classroom and they just started fighting there. I've seen that. Yeah, there's a lot of fights like all around. Like what else? Yeah. Oh, there was a fight in the stair and like the stairs.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I think they ended up how it started is the guy was like taking so long going down the stairs, and the boy ended up pushing him down the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then el guy sí se cayó, but then he managed to get up right away. And he went back upstairs to go get the other guy. Yeah.
Whenever me and my best friends would meet up in the mornings, we would enter like a certain part of the building, which would like all the way at the side, basically the quote unquote back part of the school. Mm-hmm. And when you would go up the stairs, you would have the auditorium doors right there. And there was one time that we were meeting up, and we just started hearing screaming and stuff. We're like, what's going on? And like these guys were like pushing each other, like, hey, like you trying to pick a fight and stuff like that. And it ended up being like, all right, let's go into the auditorium. And the auditorium doors are locked because, if there's no event or anything, why would they have it open? And this kid, I don't know what he did with his ID or something, but he did like a lock thing, and the door ended up opening, and they went to the stage to fight on the stage, bro. They turned on the lights and everything. I was like, what is going on?
Damn.
And then, another thing. This has nothing to do with fights. I told Chuy about this the other day. The 4-foot cafeteria is abandoned. Like, no one goes up there unless it's like teachers like, hey, we're gonna have like a little session or do something in the Ipswich cafeteria. Everybody go up there. There was one time for drama, because I was in drama for like 3 years. We went over there to rehearse some stuff, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot my backpack upstairs. Can I go get it real quick? And my teacher was like, yeah, go ahead. So I went upstairs, and I heard grunting, and I heard like a bunch of noises, and I was like, oh shoot, is someone fighting?
It's a ghost.
and there's the back end of the cafeteria, where they actually serve the food, and then at the side of each thing, there's stairways. But one side of the stairways, it's like, you can see everything because it's glass, and then the other one, it's covered because it's a giant, like, what's it called? No, it's a giant wooden door, so that has no windows or anything. And I opened the door, and I see 2 guys fucking in a corner of the stairway, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? And this was back in the day where people were like, oh, it's not normal to be gay and all that stuff. People were being homophobic and stuff.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, I was like, what is going on? Like, what am I witnessing and stuff like that? But it was just so crazy. Oh, and then like months later, right when they served the food, there was a guy and a girl fucking, and they ended up stopping because there was a security guard walking around and shit, and he was pointing a flashlight, so he found their backpacks, but not them. And they ended up having to go to the dean's office to get their backpacks back. Yeah. But they never got found out that they were doing stuff over there.
Yeah. I had a lot of those stories, but I feel like I still have people close to me that if I say those stories...
If it's just random people, yeah, but if it's people you know...
No, it's people I know. That's why I don't want to say anything.
I know people that, like... Well, I didn't know them personally. I just know them
by name and stuff.
I know them. I know some people. They no longer live here. I think I don't know where they live, out of state now. But there's this. At the moment, they were a couple, and actually no, they were not a couple. At the moment, they were like post breakup. Like they had already broke up, and then they went into the women's bathroom right by the choir room, and it was the guy and the girl, and they basically were doing stuff in the bathroom, and I think the guy like didn't stop when the girl told him to stop, and basically like tore her up.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
really?
And then they had to call the hospital, and then the hospital came, the ambulance came, and then they picked her up and everything, and she had to get stitched.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I remember there was this other guy, he liked the girl, and he was so freaking pissed off. Like, he was so pissed off that she basically got tore up by the other guy. Yeah. And then eventually, like, they started dating. They're no longer together, but they had started dating. And, I remember, like, he was, like, always very, like, atenido a ella. Like, are you okay? You know, like, this. Como que she was, like, low-key traumatized from what happened with the other guy. But she, like, he didn't want that to happen with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's always been a really, really good guy. It's just, you know, some things just didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
In that aspect with them. But I remember that. And then, man, there's so many other things I could say, but...
Have you guys done anything?
These people, huh?
Have you guys done anything personally that you know for a fact you would have gotten suspended or expelled?
Hell yeah.
I have too.
I was actually in so I was.
Okay, I'm just gonna come clean. I did it in the color guard room.
Oh no!
Come on, gang out.
I did it
right
in the
next
4th
to
floor
the choir
bathroom.
room.
I did it in the 4th floor bathroom, and I didn't even. You know what was worse? That we were. It was a rush that we were trying to get in the bathroom and stuff. One of her friends was covering, looking at the door and seeing no one was passing by and stuff. And then when I left, I didn't put my hoodie up or anything. Didn't even notice there was a camera pointing right at the bathroom.
I remember that though because your mom told everyone.
No, the one that my mom told, that never happened. That was a whole different thing. I was like, that didn't happen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom made something up or some shit.
Your mom told everybody that you got caught doing it in like a bathroom or something.
No, the thing that she told you guys, when I heard it, I was like, that never fucking happened. Like, what the hell are you saying?
No, I don't know. But your mom made a huge.
That was a whole different thing. I was like, what the hell is going on? Because when she said
of that, bro, my mom gave me a whole ass conversation, bro. And I was like, come on, gang.
What did you do?
No, nothing. It was because of you.
Oh.
My mom was like, Chuy.
No, that was my mom making some shit up.
And I was like, come on, gang. And it was like that one time my middle school, and that one teacher with the kid.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that was a whole different story saying next time. But,
oh my gosh.
But yeah.
No. When what's it called? My mom said that and stuff. That was like 2 months before I even did that. So I was like, "What are you on about? Like, who told you this? Because this shit never happened." I was so confused. I was like, "Who making shit up like that about me?" You would have seen like a report at school or something. Because over there they report everything. Yeah.
Because I remember going with your mom to the high school.
That never happened, bro.
Oh, I don't know.
They never told. So why would they tell you guys and not me at school? Why wouldn't they call me to the dean's office or anything?
I remember
I went to your school and your mom asked me.
The only time I ever went to the dean's office was because I was suicidal at the time. I remember that too. That's the only reason I've ever met my dean.
I literally went with your mom. Remember? Yeah. I went with like 2 different occasions. Yeah.
That's so weird. No, I've never done anything like that.
Well, you know what's so funny? Told me, dude, I'm like, guess what? And I'm like, what? And then there was a time when you were like suicidal and thing, right? Mm-hmm. And Eric was like, dude, the Pancho tried to pull this, right? And then he was like, it was like suicidal thoughts, and he was, and MayJay was like, yeah. And at the time, I don't know if you ever listened to the song called "Sad" from XX.
Yeah.
And it goes, one of the lyrics, it says, suicide if you ever want to let go. And when you said that, yeah, suicide, that light comes up, and I was like, oh man. I was like, oh man, but I'm like,
no,
better than anything.
No, yeah, literally, if I'm full honest, the only time I've ever gotten in trouble in high school, well, quote unquote, in trouble, was because of the suicidal thing. Mm-hmm. That's the only time I've ever met my dean, the entire 4 years. And I didn't even know I was supposed to meet him every single year. I didn't know who my dean was until senior year when all that shit went down.
I met my dean.
And you know why it went down?
Hold up. I want to give a quick shout out to Dean Lakin. F you for taking my phone freshman year.
I've never had my phone taken away from me.
Yeah, they took my phone away. All because of mom's fault. I was a freshman. And I remember I was in G building in Mr. Nakovic's class, and I felt bad. I actually felt bad. Like, me dolía la panza. And I texted mom, and I was like, hey, can you call the school and tell them that you gotta pick me up, that I have an emergency? Or something. Or I have a doctor's appointment. I was like, es que no me siento bien. And mom's like, okay. She never called the school. She just picked me up. So then she goes to the the front desk, and she's like, I'm here to pick up, my kid. And they're like, oh, for what? And my mom's like, no se siente bien.
Oh my God.
And they're like, how do you know that? Did the nurse call you? They're like, no, my kid texted me. So then they take me, mom, and to Dean Lakin's office. And then we're in the dean's office, and then the dean's like, why are you texting your mom, and why didn't you go to the nurses? And I'm literally like, why am I gonna go to the nurses when my stomach hurted because I haven't got my period. Mm. But I was like, why am I gonna go to the nurses because I already know why my stomach hurts. I'm like, I have cramps. Mm. And he's like, still, that's school policy that you're not supposed to have your phone on you. You're not supposed to text. And I'm literally like, dude, really? And so then I told my mom, like, Ma, why'd you do that? She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yo como iba a saber? And I'm like, I told you, call the school and say it's an emergency or that I have a doctor's appointment. I'm like, why wouldn't you? You know, like yeah. And then
I feel like that's the thing about fucking Mexican parents. You tell them one thing,
and they do something completely different. Yeah. So then I'm over there like, dude, really?
Oh, like that one time that you had marching band practice and Dad forgot to pick you up.
Oh my God, yes.
Dude, my mom did the same thing with my brother. He had to walk a whole fucking bridge to get fucking home, bro.
No, I mean, okay, so like from your school to where you're from.
No.
Yeah.
We had to cross the bridge.
Okay, but still closer.
Yeah, but now think of our point of view. We're here and all the way over
there. You guys. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Let's think about that.
I forgot how far that is.
Yeah.
You gotta go through like 2 O blocks just.
And not only that, it was 10 p.m. It was 10 p.m. when Dad forgot me.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah. It was literally 10 p.m. and we're at the school, and there's only my band director. Shout out Mr. Carroll. I love you so much. And it was only Mr. Carroll and security guard. And the security guard's like, your parents coming? And my mom used to work warehouse jobs back then, so she was working at night.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, yeah, I was like, my dad's supposed to pick me up. And they're like, you sure about that? And I was like,
your dad on the couch.
And I'm like, yeah, my dad's gonna pick me up. And then like all the kids left, and I could have came with Manny, Maritza, and Karen because they lived through here, or even Nan, my cousin. But I didn't because I was like, oh, don't worry, my dad's coming, you know. And I'm calling my dad. I'm doing everything, no response, right? I can't call my mom because she's at work. No me va a contestar. Her phone's probably in her locker room or something. So I'm over here like, what do I do now? And then my band director comes out and he was like, hey, I locked everything. You know, where's your parents? And I was like, I don't know. I called them already. I did everything. So then Mr. Carroll was like, let me see your phone number. Maybe if they don't recognize this number, you know, or whatever. So then he called Dad. No response. And I'm literally like, oh my God. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, it's okay. I'll just start walking. I was like, I should have started walking a long time ago. I'm like, since my, you know, and then I should have just had him pick me up wherever he, you know, wherever, right? He's like, I'm not going to let you walk. He's like, it's almost 10 p.m. Because we had marching band late at like 9. By the time you actually finished everything and got out of the locker room, because there were so many kids, it was like 9:15, 9:20. And then Mr. Carroll stayed until, like, you know, he finished everything himself, you know, all his paperwork. So we're talking about it being like 9:45, 9:50. And I remember that, like, I stayed there. The security guard was still going to be there because he had, like, a night shift or something like that. But I remember that we stayed there for a little bit more. We kept calling Dad, nothing. You didn't have a phone.
Nah, I didn't have a phone at the time.
Who else was I gonna call?
Yeah.
At that moment, we didn't talk to Pancho's mom, so I couldn't call Pancho's mom. I didn't even have her phone number, or like I didn't have anyone's phone number. I was literally in high school, and I only had my friends, and no one had cars. We were all like sophomores.
Can we take one of the school buses?
I was like a freshman or a sophomore at that time, and I literally was like, dude, what do I do? I didn't even know how to get home walking all the way from over there. Because, like, our school is far. Like, our school is like a 20 to 25 minute drive. And Pancho's school from our house is only like a 6-minute drive, which is crazy how we didn't go to that school.
Yeah, I always thought it was the dumbest thing.
Because of the school barriers.
The school barrier stuff.
It's just so dumb. I'm like, what barriers are there? Because it just makes no sense.
It starts here from the train.
I know, but it makes no sense. Why have those barriers and you're making it more difficult
We could have gone to your school, but then we wouldn't have bus service.
Oh.
And since in the mornings no one could take us to school, that's why we had to take the bus service. So that's why we had to go to the other school. Well, anyway, my band director took me home to my house. And so, like, he drives all the way down to the east side, which I felt bad because we were on the west side. And he lives, like, I kid you not, like 45 minutes from the west side. So now, coming all the way down to the east side, that just made his commute back home like an hour and 20 minutes. Jeez. An hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, so I felt really, really bad. And he comes and he drops me off and he said, "Do you need me to go talk to your dad?" And I said, "No." I was like, "It's fine." I was like, "He doesn't speak English." I'm like, "So he probably doesn't understand." And he said, "Are you sure? Is your dad an alcoholic? Is your dad like?" He started asking me all these questions, like, "Do I need to call the cops or something?" And I'm like, "No." I was like, I was like, "My dad doesn't drink," which is true. My dad has never drank, you know. So I'm literally like, okay, I'm just gonna see, maybe he fell asleep or something, Dude, I walk into the living room at like 10:15 p.m. My dad is watching una novela with his mouth literally like jaw open, watching this novela. And then he looks at me and he's like, "Ah, ¿qué haces aquí?" And I was like, "You were supposed to pick me up." Oh my God, it's because I started la novela. He's like, you normally don't get free until 9:20, 9:15. Mm-hmm. He's like, so me quedé viendo la novela. He's like, and I completely forgot about you.
That's crazy.
And if you know my dad, the minute he watches something, he is sucked into the TV. Like, you cannot, like, if you tell him, hey, you have to do this, or don't forget this, he's gonna forget, You
literally have to turn off the TV.
You literally have to pause the TV or turn it off because he will not do it. Well, back in those days, there was no streaming. It was still like,
live
like
TV.
Live. But what I don't understand is, how do you not remember doing a commercial? You get me? Like, there were commercials back then. How do you not remember, like, oh, I had something to do. Oh, shoot, I had to pick up my kid. It's freaking 9:30 p.m.,
Oh,
no? And then he never checked his phone because he always leaves his phone somewhere stranded. So I'm over here, like, trying to call him. And then basically I told him, I was like, my band director's outside the door right now. I'm like, you need to go say sorry. And so Dad walked out and with me. And he told Mr. Carroll, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then my dad's like, dile que me quedé viendo la tele. And then I told him, I was like, he was watching a soap opera. Carroll cracked up so much. He was like, okay, well. He's like, I'll see you guys. Good night. And I was so embarrassed. I texted all my friends. I was like, Mr. Carroll just brought me home. They were like, why? And then I was like, because my dad forgot to pick me up. They were like, hey, you your dad's favorite then. I was like, obviously not, since he forgot to pick me up. And I never let my dad forget that.
Oh my God!
I always and actually that's not the first time he forgot me. Mm-hmm. No, that's the only time I talk about, because that's when Mr. Carroll brought me. Mm-hmm. But my dad forgot me more times, and the good thing is that my friends were still there. Yeah. Like Karen, Manny, and Maritza, they were still there. So they were like, I remember Manny's mom picked them up, and she would be like, mija, ¿quién va a recogerte? And I was like, well, I think my dad, pero no, ya es tarde. Cause like, yeah, and she was like, vente, yo te llevo. But you know what was funny as hell? Okay, so Manny played tuba. Maritza played flute. Karen played percussion, so she didn't have to carry anything with her. Mm-hmm. Pero like, Manny played tuba, Maritza played flute, I played clarinet, right? Mm-hmm. And then Nan played percussion also, so he also didn't have to pick anything up. But Manny's mom had a van, like kind of like the Dodge van that we had. Yeah. But she only had 2 seats, the driver and the passenger seat. So the rest of the seat was like, the rest of the van was just plain. Mm-hmm. Like just the metal stuff on the bottom, like super hard. So this was, we literally were like sardines. First was the tuba all the way acá. Then it was Manny like this, Maritza next to him, and with her flute. And then it was Karen, and then I was like this.
They were smelling everyone's toes,
basically,
bro.
Yeah, and we were all just like this. Porque la mamá de Manny, or sometimes Manny didn't go there, and Nan went there, and then Manny would sit up with his mom. And it would be so funny because she'd be like, acuéstense para que no los vea la policía. And we would all be like, quiet as hell. Yeah, and I remember that, like, she would then drop us one by one. So, like, Maritza was closest, was first, so we would drop her off first. And then they would drop Nan next,
Mm-hmm.
then me, and then ya al final Karen, and then Manny, pues ya con su mamá.
Yeah.
But man, I remember those days, and that I think she gave me a ride like 3 times. So that means Dad forgot me like 4 times. Yeah.
Did y'all ever get bullied at school?
No.
You never got bullied at school?
No.
I was special.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm kidding. You?
Hey, low key though, Chuy owes me a big shout out because if it wasn't for me, he'd be going to your school.
Oh yeah,
with special ed kids.
He told me about that.
Yeah, so shout out to me for fighting for Chuy's rights to go to our school and to be on to get the school.
To be fair, none of that would have happened if this guy paid attention to how he cleans his ears.
No, low-key, none of it would have happened if Dad was actually a good parent and actually cleaned his kids' ears instead of telling a 3-year-old to clean your own cotton swab ears.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It all falls on your dad. The picking up and the cleaning. No, I used to get bullied a lot at school, mostly because of this one guy. I know his first and last name, but I'm not gonna say it because he unfortunately passed. So he had been like my child. You know how in like Disney Channel movies and all that stuff, there's like this guy who's been bullied since he was a kid by the same dude.
Yeah.
Essentially, I went through the same thing from 2nd grade all the way to like freshman year. This guy who would constantly bully me and stuff. And then, like, around, I think, junior year, I was talking to one of my friends who I had met in elementary, and they were talking about it, and they were saying, oh, yeah, this person, he ended up dying. I'm like, what? When did he die? He's like, oh, like, about a year ago. He went to Mexico, and apparently he was trying to act all tough, and basically fucked around and find out. He started trying to bully a gangster. The gangster just shot at him, and he died.
Wow.
Like, on the spot. But there was a time in 8th grade I was in my science teacher. Shout out Mr. Gary. Dude, you were so nice. Even though everyone literally was constantly throwing fits and like being loud as hell just to interrupt your class and stuff and piss you off. But he was always a calm dude. There was a time where I had my science project and I had glass on it. Like a glass bottle. Mm-hmm. And this girl was friends with my bully and she was bullying me as well. And she ended up shoving me, and I fell face first onto my project, and the glass broke, but it only landed on like my hand. And she started screaming about like, oh, I was trying to assault her and blah 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 when I literally wasn't even close to her. And she started like cursing at me and stuff. And Mr. Gary had to hold her back. And if I went to the dean's office. And if Mr. Gary didn't stand up for me, I could have had like a sexual assault charge on my record for absolutely no reason. So if he didn't stand up for me, then I would have just been screwed out of my life right there.
Yeah.
Just because this girl was trying to get attention from my bully. And then come years later, I think it was sophomore or junior year, I saw her in the hall and she was trying to be all nice to me and be my friend and stuff. And I guess she either felt guilty or she already knew what happened to my bully because I didn't know at the time. But yeah, she was trying to be nice and trying to be all friendly with me. But I was like, nah, I remember you. I don't want anything to do with you.
No, I got bullied, but in like, I want to say like early middle school, maybe like elementary school still. Mm. It's kind of funny because the girls used to live here, nearby. And so the first girl, she used to live about 2 blocks away from us. She's the one that lives right by Jose and Haley. She had the huge pool in the corner.
Oh.
Yeah, her. She used to I'm not now we're not friends, but we're like okay. Mm-hmm. You get me? I actually have her as a friend on Facebook and like I see her post with her kid and stuff like that and I like them. So it's not like I don't have a grudge with her, but I think she was the nicest one out of all of them. I think it's just the people she hung out with.
Oh,
yeah.
Influencer
and then the other girl, which I thought was my friend, she lived like a couple blocks that way, and I hung out with her, and like she would like bully me and stuff like that. And then my mom would let me go to her house and everything because she would invite me over because her mom knew my mom. and she would invite me over. But then when we were over there, she was totally nice to me. That's what I don't understand. She was totally nice to me when it was just us two.
Yeah.
But when it was in front of other people, she would bully me.
Yeah, I had
and I would be like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
that guy that I mentioned earlier, the guy that was being homophobic and would turn out to be gay, he was hanging out with a bunch of guys, and there would be a few times where I had like one or two of his guy friends in the group, like in another class, and they would be like, "Hey, do you need a pencil? Hey, do you wanna see this cool thing that I just got?" And stuff like that. Like they'd be completely nice, super light with me and stuff, but as soon as they would be next to him, they would start calling me names and stuff. I guess lots of kids got influenced by people, whether it be like, oh, they're the cool kid in the class or something, or they have money and stuff. Because back then it was just like you were just so closed off. You wouldn't know about like people around you unless they told you.
Yeah.
It's not like nowadays where you go on Google or you go on fucking Instagram and stuff, and you know everything that happened on California or something that happened to, 2 schools away from you and stuff. And you're like, oh, I know that person, blah blah blah. Nah, like every friend you had was either the class next to you or like a few like desks behind you.
Alright, when you guys went to, alright, so it's freshman year, basic year, right?
Mm-hmm.
High school. When you went to the lunch, who do you sat with, or do you have anybody you sat with? Or no?
It depends on which people that I knew already like were there. Mm-hmm. So most of the time it would be my current best friends for all 9 years. I would try to sit with them at all times, and if I didn't have them for like that year or something, I would just sit by myself. Honestly.
Okay, so for me it was hard. Like, I was the kind of person that I was friends with everyone. I was friends with the emo kids. I was friends with the Hispanic kids. I was friends with the band kids. I was friends with like the cool popular kids too. So like it just depended who I was talking to that day. You get me? Or like sometimes they'd be like, "Hey, you want to come sit with us?" Or like, "Hey, we have this," or whatever. Like, "Hey, vente pa acá." And like I remember that like I felt so bad for my like Hispanic friends because they would be like, "Ándale pues, vete a sentarte con tus güeritos." Because like my band friends todos eran güeritos. And then they'd be like, "Oh, pues tú ya te olvidaste de nosotros." And then I would feel bad because like we had marching band, so like you were closer than ever with your band friends,
Mm-hmm.
And they would all be like, "Hey, come on, man, like come sit over here." So what I would try to do is like on Monday and Tuesday, I would sit with like my Mexican friends. You get me?
We got a schedule.
And then I had a schedule because I had to do it evenly.
Come hang out with us. It's not Tuesday, bro.
On Wednesday, I would sit with like any table that would be like, "Hey, come over here." But I would try to do like Fridays with the band kids because we would have competitions on Saturdays. So like I wanted to know who I was gonna hang out with for competitions. You get me? Or not only that, but like you know how we had marching band like some days of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to sit with other people when we had band. So then I'd be like, "Oh, well, I already have band. I'm gonna see you tonight. I'm gonna sit with my other friends." So I could like rotate it out.
Yeah.
Cause like since we had band, I wasn't able to hang out with my friends after school.
Mm-hmm.
So like whenever I didn't have band or it wasn't band season, I would go and hang out with my Mexican friends. Yeah, like Jose, Alondra, and all of them, and Lupita and everyone. So then like I felt bad because like or Jasmine and all of them. And I felt bad because like una mesa me estaba esperando, pero like la otra mesa también, and you're like, what do I do?
You never thought about combining them? Be like everyone's sitting the same time.
No, you can't. You can't do that. Okay,
I know, but like,
I'm gonna give you an example. Yesterday when we did the relay, and you see all my coworkers are white, right? Except for una que es mexicana. And then you see all our family and friends that came and ate tacos and supported us. Everyone speaks Spanish. Everyone's Hispanic. The only way it combined was because Eliana, speaks English. She was able to communicate with all my coworkers, And Lucy habla inglés, so like she was able to communicate with the coworkers. So then, like, you know, my parents, they don't speak English, so like how they communicate with Jason and all them, you know. So it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird seeing my Hispanic side
and
versus my work white side come together. You get me?
The fact that you said that the red salsa was spicy like grosses me out.
Why?
Because
it was
low-key not spicy at all, dude.
I don't know why, but it like I don't know if maybe where I me lo comí yo había un chile or something, pero it was low key really spicy for me.
No,
bro, I ate like 6 quesadillas, all of them with red and green, and that was not.
I
spicy
ate
at all.
one taco de al pastor, and then I ordered it. And then I wanted to eat it, and then we got a rush of people, and then I didn't eat it until 30 minutes later, so it got cold as hell. And I know, pero ya le había puesto salsa. So I didn't want to put like salsa already on the grill. So then I was like, whatever. I ate it and me enchiló. Actually, no me enchiló mucho. It was okay. But then the second time I ordered another taco, I ate it hot. So I don't know if it's because the salsa was spicy and the, you know, like when your food is actually hot in temperature. Like your tongue sometimes gets, you know, feels it more spicy.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe también fue por eso. But I don't know.
I don't know, bro. I got the 4 quesadillas before we left. I got them all straight from the grill, and I put the sauce on them. Ate all 3 of them right away, and I gave the last one.
Yeah, we had a lot of people do quesadillas, so I think next year we're definitely gonna do more quesadillas.
You have to do it too. We were talking about it. We were like, oh, we should have a sincronizada.
Well, it'll have to be probably like $4. You know?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, nos quedaron bien hartos tortillas.
Yeah.
So it's like, también allí.
And then also they'll be like, oh, something new. You know? Then we're already talking about fundraiser stuff again, and we just finished the fucking season.
Oh yeah, yesterday. Well we're gonna take like a month or 2 month break, and then we're gonna start again. But I think this ends our episode because we need to go to the hospital and visit our friend Mary. But yeah, I just want to give a huge shout out if anybody has been, you know, helping us with the whole American Cancer Society thing as well. We were able to get $9,138 donated. Actually, I'm kidding. $9,311 donated. So yeah, I want to say thank you so much. It was huge for us this year. Our initial goal was 5,000, and we totally surpassed it. So I want to say thank you so much to anybody that has been with us, and we will see you guys next year for Relay again.
For sure. All right. With that, we'll be closing the episode. Hope everyone has a good night, good day, good afternoon, wherever you guys are at. Stay safe, and, you know, drink plenty of coffee and tea.
And water.
Especially
put sunscreen on.
A gallon a day keeps the UTI away.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Here.